Hello friends, welcome to another episode of the Riflechair channel. So we're out going for a walk in the woods and it's really gusty, so I hope the audio comes through okay for this. Got the mic on here, lapel mic. So I got some news today. There's an article out on iPolitics. It's got to do with the Canadian Firearms Advisory Committee and Minister Goodale's the Public Safety. He's rejected a petition, over 16,000 signatures on this petition that was invoked between May and September 2017. And what the petition requested was that Minister Goodale require all of the individuals on this committee, the standing committee for the Public Safety Minister, the Canadian Firearms Advisory Council Committee, that they challenge and pass the Canadian Firearms Safety Course. And he rejected that, citing that, I think what was the quote? It would be too insensitive and inappropriate to require a survivor of the Polytechnic shooting to work with firearms in order to serve on the Canadian Firearms Committee. So it would be too insensitive for them to have to be confronted with deactivated firearms in order to learn how to use them safely, how the laws apply to them, safe firearm handling drills, and all that different kind of stuff. It would be insensitive to require them to do that. So this petition had over 16,000 signatures on it, and he rejected it. So what is that? What kind of messaging does that response send? Well, what it says is that, you don't really need to know anything particularly about the subject, but what the laws and the regulations and the safe handling procedures and what it is that Canadian firearms owners have to go through when it comes to the vetting that they have to go through, and you basically get a security background check every morning before 10 o'clock in the morning. So we had a bear sighting in the area recently, so you always got to be a condition yellow. Anyhow, what's wrong with being educated? Especially if you're going to be on one of these standing committees for the House of Commons. I mean, surely you want your the recommendations that are going to be coming out of these committees to be objective, well considered, realistic, achievable. Well, apparently that's not the case if you've got committees with members who are victims of gun crimes. Their opinions are validated because they're a victim. So I guess that means that I could be on a standing committee too. I mean, maybe not a firearms committee because I'm too qualified probably to be on a committee like that. Let's see, what committees could I go on? So there's some other ones here. How about, here's one I'd love to be on. Procedure and House Affairs. So we'll be looking into members of Parliament and the ethics, of how they're conducting themselves. I'd love to be on that committee. Am I a victim of it? Yeah, because I'm a victim because, well, there's lots of members of Parliament out there that have been charged with ethics crimes, right? We know a few of those that are very high up in the existing government right now. Yeah, so I guess that makes me qualified because I'm a victim of that. I mean, they've been using my tax dollars for unethical reasons. Let's see, what other kind of committees could I be on? Oh, here's one. Standing Committee on the Status of Women. No, I'm not a woman. Maybe that's a criteria. But maybe I've been a victim of women. Yeah, I've definitely been a victim of women in the past. So that makes me qualified. A Standing Committee on Health structures. Oh, no. Sorry. Standing Committee on Health Studies. Now, I know I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical practitioner. I do have a level 1 first aid certificate, which is expired, actually. But that doesn't matter. And have I been a victim of health studies? Yes. Yes, I have. Although most of the time it's actually been pretty darn good. But I guess that makes me qualified. Let's see here. Human resources. We got a standing committee on human resources, skills and social development, and persons with disabilities. Just so happens I've been a victim of a person with a disability. So therefore, I guess that makes me qualified to be on that committee. So I'll be sending my applications in here pretty soon. See how ridiculous this is? How ridiculous this is. Anyway, the truth of the matter is the way I see it, and this is my humble opinion. If somebody has been a victim of a terrible situation, a terrible crime, those people, they need our sympathy and they need our help. They need help. We don't put them on a committee that has to deal with specifically the crime that they were confronted with, they're a victim of, and ask them for their opinions on how new laws and regulations should be vetted through the House of Commons. They need help. So, there's one other way of looking at it, is that how people with some kind of personal trauma actually go through a process of healing themselves. Is sometimes what they need to do is confront the situation that causes their anxiety and their fear and their stress and their shame. Is that you need to be able to dissect the thing that happened to you, break it down into its material components so that you can understand it. So, for example, for me, who I've been confronted by numerous bears that have attacked me and bluff charges, basically, a battle in the woods. So right now you can tell I'm paying attention because there's lots of bears around here, and this went on for years and years and years, being confronted by these dangerous animals. And to the point where I was thinking, geez, this career in forestry, maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. Maybe it's time for a career change. So I decided to actually immerse myself to study the animal, to study the bear, educate myself on its behavioral characteristics, to the point where I'm now, well, I don't know if you consider me a subject matter expert, but I teach the subject now. Going from someone who could be described as a victim of bear violence to someone who's teaching people and educating people on how to save themselves from, or how to mitigate any chance of a violent confrontation with a bear. I mean, this year I've almost put 40 people through my course, and the reviews are excellent. But in order for me to deal with my fear, I had to educate myself on my fear. Not pursue the destruction of all bears. That would be ridiculous. Anyhow, that's how I found healing, was by forcing myself to confront my fear, analyze it, dissect it. Personally, that's what I think these victims should be doing. That's where they should be focusing their time, is on their own healing, rather than trying to pursue their gut emotional feelings through the political system. That's how I feel about it. And frankly, if Ralph Goodale is worried about the mental well-being of the people that are advising him, then maybe they shouldn't be on his committees. Maybe he should be helping them by maybe even taking the firearm safety course would be beneficial for them, because it would help them to understand what it is that Canadians Canadians that lawfully own firearms, what they have to go through in order to actually possess them and acquire them. They would have some basic sense of security and understanding. That would be a good thing. It's ridiculous. The elections of 2019 cannot come fast enough. This is ridiculous. It's Riflechair signing off. Hope you're all doing well, and as always, Maple Leaf up. Rant over.